June 10, 1997. Midnight in the jungle hills of An Long Veng, near the Thai border. Pol Pot still held absolute power over the last ragged band of Khmer Rouge fighters. He had ruled Cambodia for 4 years and commanded the remnants for 18 more. But everything changed when he gave a single order. 30 soldiers surrounded the house of his old comrade Sun Sen. They dragged out Sun Sen, his wife Yun Yat, and 14 family members, including small children and grandchildren. Gunfire cracked through the darkness. Bodies fell. Trucks rolled back and forth over the corpses to make sure nothing remained. Yun Yat, once a powerful minister, lay in the dirt. 3 weeks later, the leaked footage showed the men who gave that order. Pol Pot sat slumped in a wooden chair in a jungle clearing, white hair thin, face gaunt and pale, legs too weak to stand. His own men had turned on him. He looked like a broken doll. Origin story: Salith Sar was born on May 19, 1925, in the small village of Prexbov, about 80 miles north of Phnom Penh. His family was not rich, but they had connections. One brother worked at the royal palace. Young Salith Sar attended French-run schools in the capital. In 1949, the French government sent him to Paris to study radio electronics. There, in cheap student rooms and smoky cafes, he discovered communism. He read Marx and Lenin. He joined a circle of Cambodian students who dreamed of revolution. He failed his exams and returned home in 1953 without a degree. Back in Cambodia, he taught French and history at a private school in Phnom Penh. In 1956, he married Kyu Ponari, an intelligent, quiet teacher from a good family. For a short time they lived an ordinary middle-class life. But the colonial world around them was crumbling. What most people don't know is that Pol Pot later described those Paris years as the happiest of his life, yet that same time planted the ideas that would destroy millions. By 1960 he had slipped into the underground. He took the name Pol Pot. He began organizing secret cells. The men who once graded student papers now planned armed struggle. The first sign of darkness appeared when he ordered small attacks on government outposts. Failure meant death for his followers. He accepted the losses without emotion. The system rewarded his cold calculation. The Communist Party of Kampuchea grew. And in March 1970 a military coup overthrew Prince Sihanouk. The new leader, Lon Nol, invited American bombs to hit Vietnamese bases inside Cambodia. The bombing killed thousands of civilians and drove angry young men into the jungle. Pol Pot's forces swelled from 5,000 to 200,000 in 3 years. By 1973 the Khmer Rouge controlled large parts of the countryside. On April 17, 1975, they marched into Phnom Penh. Pol Pot renamed the country Democratic Kampuchea and declared Year Zero. 2 million people were forced out of the cities at gunpoint. Factories, schools, and hospitals emptied overnight. Money was abolished. Private property disappeared. Angkor, the organization, became the new god. Anyone who questioned it vanished. Pol Pot moved the party center to a secret base. Step by step the machine tightened. First the old government officials. Then the intellectuals. Then anyone who wore glasses or spoke a foreign language. Each purge made the next one feel necessary. By 1976 the party began eating its own. Cadres who had fought for the revolution were suddenly labeled Vietnamese spies. Their wives and children disappeared with them. The system Pol Pot built rewarded total obedience and punished even the smallest doubt. By late 1977 the purges reached the top ranks. No one was safe. Beat 4, the horror in detail. Between 1975 and 1979 nearly 2 million Cambodians died, about 25% of the entire population. Starvation, disease, and execution claimed them. The numbers were exact because the party kept records. In the Northwest Zone alone more than 100,000 people perished in 1977. The most feared place was Security Prison 21, or S-21, a former high school in central Phnom Penh. Between 1975 and 1979 at least 17,000 people passed through its gates. Only 12 survived. Most victims were fellow Khmer Rouge cadres and their families. What most people don't know is that the majority of people tortured and killed at S-21 were not class enemies, but loyal revolutionaries accused of treason during internal purges. Guards shaved their heads, dressed them in black pajamas, and chained them to iron beds. Interrogators used electric shocks, waterboarding, and beatings to force confessions. Children as young as 5 were brought in with their mothers. One survivor later said, "They told my wife and me we were going to a new work site. At the gate they separated us. I never saw her again." That survivor was Bumeng. His wife Mayon was pregnant when she was taken. Pol Pot himself wrote in party documents, "To keep you is no benefit. To destroy you is no loss." Wives of zone secretaries, ministers, and military commanders arrived in trucks at night. Their mugshots show women in their 30s and 40s staring straight at the camera with shaved heads and hollow eyes. After interrogation they were trucked 15 kilometers to Chung Ek, the killing field. Their executioners used iron bars and hose because bullets were expensive. Entire families died together so no one could seek revenge. In 1978 alone the Eastern Zone Purge killed 250,000 people, many of them cadres and their wives. The machinery was simple: suspicion, arrest, confession, death. Pol Pot's paranoia turned the revolution into a slaughterhouse that consumed its own creators. The turning point: by 1978 the seeds of collapse had grown too large to ignore. Pol Pot's endless purges had weakened the army. Vietnamese forces massed along the border. On December 25, 1978, Vietnam launched a full invasion. Pol Pot was meeting with his inner circle when the news arrived. He ordered a last desperate counterattack, but it failed. On January 7, 1979, Vietnamese troops entered Phnom Penh. The Khmer Rouge government collapsed in days. Pol Pot and a few thousand loyalists fled to the Thai border. He blamed Vietnamese spies and traitors inside his own ranks. For 18 years he hid in the jungle, still issuing orders from hidden bases. His health failed, strokes left him partly paralyzed, but he clung to power. Meanwhile the world slowly learned the scale of the killing. Yet Pol Pot refused to accept defeat. The paranoia that destroyed the country now turned inward again. By 1997 only a few thousand fighters remained. Power struggles split the movement. Pol Pot saw plots everywhere. Instead of compromise, he reached for the old solution. He ordered the death of his longtime defense minister Sun Sen, who had begun secret talks with the Cambodian government. Sun Sen's wife Yun Yat, herself a former information minister, died with him. The order backfired. Tam Mok, another hardline commander, turned his troops against Pol Pot. The man who had escaped justice for 2 decades finally faced his own men. June 19, 1997. Soldiers loyal to Tam Mok surrounded Pol Pot's hut. They arrested him without a fight. For 5 weeks he sat under guard while the faction argued. On July 25, 1997, they staged a show trial in a jungle clearing near On Long Veng. The footage Nate Thayer shot that day is the last clear record of Pol Pot alive. 2 soldiers carried him on a simple wooden stretcher into the open space. He wore a loose black shirt and trousers, the same revolutionary uniform he had forced on millions. His hair was completely white and thinning. His face was sunken, skin stretched tight over cheekbones. His eyes stared straight ahead, empty. He could not walk. They lowered him into a wooden chair. Hundreds of former fighters and villagers sat on the ground and watched. The crowd cheered as speakers denounced him as a traitor who had murdered Sun Sen and tried to kill other leaders. Pol Pot never spoke. He barely moved. His hands rested limp in his lap. After 2 hours the tribunal sentenced him to life under house arrest. Guards carried him away like a piece of furniture. He spent the next 9 months in a simple wooden house on the Thai border, guarded day and night. On April 15, 1998, he died of heart failure. His body was cremated on a pile of old tires and brushwood in the jungle. The smoke rose into the trees while the last remnants of his movement crumbled. Fear that let Pol Pot rule for decades finally destroyed him. He ordered the death of a comrade's wife and children to protect his power, and within weeks his own men filmed him helpless in a jungle court. What remains is the uncomfortable truth that revolutions built on terror always end by devouring their creators. Even after the killing fields were silent, the last Khmer Rouge leaders could not stop killing each other. The footage of that frail old man in the chair asks a question no one has answered: when does the machinery of suspicion finally break, or does it simply wait for the next leader to start it again?